Hello, everyone. Some of you are New Yorkers. I've spoken to some of you earlier this morning who either, I lived here in New York before, so it's kind of like home for me. Well, I was a New Yorker as well. You're a New Yorker, right, Susie? Charles, you're a New Yorker. I first came in New York in 2004. I was recruited out of college. I'm actually from Indonesia. For some reason, when I was 16 years old, I really wanted to come to the US. I guess Hollywood got to me. So against all of my parents' wishes, because Australia was our sort of second home, their vision was to have all of their children going to university in Australia, but I didn't want that. So I used my savings to apply for SAT. I used my savings to apply for colleges, and I graduated in November. It was in Australia, it's the other way around. So we graduated in November, and I didn't want to waste even a second. I wanted to go to university so soon. So Michigan University was one of the few better universities who would accept a winter intake. So January 2001, my family came with me. The whole family came with me. We landed in Detroit. We had the runway completely cleared, but amongst all the white snow. So that was my first start to the US. And I was delighted. I was a stubborn 16-year-old because that gave me a job I loved. I experienced New York as a 20-year-old, and I loved it. Ever since then, I just love being exposed to different cultures. So New York wasn't enough for me. I relocated to Hong Kong, and then London, and most recently to Dubai. Many people ask me, why Dubai? Especially Americans. Have you been to Dubai? Actually, 90% of you, those who I've spoken to, have not been to Dubai or have not been to the Middle East. Well, the good news is that we're hosting our Innovation Summit next year in Dubai. So Carolina and I would love to welcome all of you, hopefully to be with us again next year in March. But anyway, I'm here today to discuss and talk to you about the perspective of a founder, from vision to value and then to velocity. And in order to really truly appreciate how far we've come along, I would like to take you all the way back to 2017, because this is the year. Or was it 2016 actually? December 2016. December 2016. Well, slight error, but we didn't meet each other in person until 2017. The WhatsApp was created in 2016. Our third co-founder, Ronak Hanspal, who is actually not part of the day-to-day operation of the business, but he is our managing director in India. All credit goes to him because he did the one thing that made AltoVita, which is to introduce me to Carolina. And in this WhatsApp chat, we were ideating, because at that time, we had no team, no clients, no product. We had a name though. We figured out a name because we needed to buy a domain, which we did from GoDaddy, £7. It's like, I think it's around $10. And we also poured our savings, $80,000. This picture is so cute. And we launched a B2C product. We didn't even think about corporates. We probably spent a few $100s to design this. Completely bootstrapped. We didn't raise any outside funds yet. And so the logo is very old school because it was inspired by Great Gatsby. But AltoVita means high life. Till today, I think it still represents what we do, which is to provide an elevated living experience in a very well-curated AltoVita home anywhere in the world. So we always had that global vision from the get-go. Some of you knew Carolina and I very well. We've lived in over 20 different locations across the world, so global ambition was always part of the journey. While the logo has completely modernized, the vision, the mission is still the same, which is quality standardization, vetting, inspection, basically anything that took the unpredictability out of Airbnb properties. So I'm lucky because Harmony already sold AltoVita very well. So actually my job is done here. So thank you so much, Harmony. And so, does it work? There you go. In 2019, we pivoted completely to a B2B product because we were seeing a wide range of different bookings from like a bachelorette party to family weekends. We were catering to all of these. And then we were seeing a lot of also 30-day stay bookings from like amazing companies. It's like, oh, what's happening here? And so we looked at the data. We tried to like do our desktop research. At the time, there was no ChatGPT. I was just Googling here and there. And then our Google took us to the FEM website. There was a conference in Amsterdam in November or October 2019. Because it was so expensive, we said, let's send one of us only. So Carolina went. And after that, I think that's when we started to pivot entirely to B2B tech. And then we created our own version of the GDS. Because a lot of us are from mobility, you may not know what GDS is. Would someone be able to help me explain? N? Mike? Hold on.
Thank you. I'm Ann Derry from Johnson & Johnson. I'm the global head for travel and meetings. Been in the industry 22 years already, so I can tell you what the GDS is. You can believe me. It's the global distribution system. So there are a few, probably 3 or 4 left in, I guess, in the world, but the biggest ones are really Sabre and Amadeus. Sabre is in most of the kind of Anglo markets, and as well as Latin America, UK, Ireland, parts of APAC as well. And then Amadeus is in most of Europe and some of the Middle East and APAC. And it's where, I mean, it was originally created by the airline industry, right? Because they needed some sort of system that could take all this incoming transactional data from the airlines. It's all was green screen, all codes, made absolutely no sense to anyone but an agent. And a lot of agencies are still using these things. But it broke down the entire seat arrangements on a plane into 26 different buckets, right? But then as it evolved, it then started taking the input from the hotel industry and then ground transportation. So it's evolved over the last, I don't know, I guess 30 years now, but there's been a lot of disruption in the business travel industry in the last few years where there are startups that are either building their own GDS type systems or they're actually setting up APIs with corporate clients like myself. I do not have this type of direct connection as of yet, but there are other clients like PwC in the US that have created a direct connect to different airlines. And they can actually access some of that kind of promotional content that you'll see on an airline website that you'll never see in the GDS. So the GDS has kind of come full circle. It is now kind of working more closely with these disruptors so that it doesn't really lose its validity within the industry, I guess that's a good way of putting it. But that's what the GDS is.
Oh, thank you so much, Anne. That would be like 180 degree better than what I would say. So the point is we created our own GDS as well. But obviously it was solely focused on accommodation, lodging, which we then rebranded into what we call the Alto One. So until today, it is still the pillar of our technology. It houses the 7 million properties that we market. And now Alto One becomes part of the entire AltoVerse suite. I'm not going to bore you with each definition of the suite, because you will hopefully learn from the thought leadership sessions all throughout the day with better context. So in 2019, we pivoted entirely to B2B clients, and then not long after, unfortunately, COVID hit, so actually our bookings probably went down by 80%, something like this. In March, April, May, we started to see it sort of recovered, and then June it sort of ballooned from there. And then in 2020, it was such a pivotal moment for us because somehow it worked. Somehow we were able to globalize our inventory. We started to onboard visionary clients. Many of you are here. And in 2021, I went to my first in-person event in Kent, in the UK countryside. Fiona Murchie from Relocate Global interviewed me at the time, and she introduced AltoVita so beautifully. She said, AltoVita meteorically rose during COVID, which is exactly what happened. And I bet it's because of what we have done with the Innovation Summit. We were always a remote company, but we truly embraced being remote during COVID. We basically brought together between 100 to 120 individuals into one platform. You're nodding. I don't know if you were there, William. You were there? Okay. So we launched something super ambitious, aggressive, which is called the Corporate Housing Innovation Summit. 5 days, 5 regions. So every day we would cover a different region, from the US, West Coast, East Coast, Latin America, APAC, Europe, and then Africa. And in 2022, things started to open. So we hosted the first in-person summit at the Kew Garden. And then in 23, we went all out to the Sky Garden in London. It's an iconic building. I don't know if you've visited London and been there. We would for sure recommend going there. And then in 24, we presented the first time a beautiful case study with Sam, PwC. And then the next year, actually this year, we were able to demonstrate a few customer success stories. So from thought leadership to customer success stories, multiple customer stories, and Joy, our marketing director, picked the most phenomenal venue. It was at the Odeon Cinema. We have a little tiny screen here, but in London, it was enormous. I think I felt like I was Steve Jobs or like Satya Nadella presenting, because it was impressive. But yeah, so we're delighted to be here today because it was our ambition to finally launch in the US with New York as our chosen stage. So thank you so much, Velocity and Earring, for supporting us. So over the years, we have expanded and strengthened the Altoverse. We've launched product after product, and we do it fast, right? It's not years. From discovery to production, it would probably take months for a proper product. For a product enhancement, a few weeks. For example, EcoStat here, right in the middle, was launched in 10 days. That's how fast AltoVita can be. That's how agile AltoVita can be. Of course, it wasn't always perfect when we launched an MVP, and then we gathered many client feedback, and we improved over time. And so today, we have a very strong product market fit with Fortune 500 companies, Global 2000 companies, or even those with very strong use cases like geostabilization projects, engineering, construction, crew films is another one. It's interesting, housing association, and so on and so forth. Carolina will cover all that in detail. And then this year, over the past 12 months, we've been able to demonstrate about 53% year-on-year growth. This number used to be 80%. This number used to be 300%. So it gets harder and harder because the base is higher and higher. But we're hoping to still be able to strive 70 to 80% this year. We're doing all of that by demonstrating concrete cost savings and still also performing with a very excellent operation metric, which is CSAT score. Over the years, we've won many awards. I think we won too many awards, actually. Sometimes we don't even post it. But the EMAS is very special to us because we've been applying to do the awards since, I think, 2000. There were many evenings at the EMAS where we were there and we were nominated for 4 awards and we didn't win any. So now, it is heartbreaking when you have a table and like clients with you and you have 4 nominations and you bring home 0. So now that we have won 9, and last year we actually won all 3 regions within the category that actually matters, which is the Corporate Housing Company of the Year. We've also been awarded various technology and best service providers awards and so on and so forth. So it is very humbling, and I also just wanted to say that it's not just all about the awards, right? It's just about who we are as a company. We've been busy building key differentiators brick by brick. It wasn't always obvious. It's just all about testing, getting feedback, creating prototype, feedback again, and then finally, let's do it. Once we have done it, we still get feedback and continue to iterate. This is who we are. And that's why when any client or prospect or partner or investors ask us, what is your differentiators? Like, your competition have this too. Well, the differentiators obviously are the founders and our values. We are fast, so speed is our key differentiator. We're agile, right? We love listening to feedback. And we actually action, obviously, with a lot of filter. We want to make sure that we invest in the right way. And then transparency. The products that you will see all throughout the day is all about taking accountability, showing the real data, even the number of escalations, how long it takes to resolve the escalation, the cost saving. If there's no cost saving, then obviously it's over budget. You will get all of that from us. Okay, now I have a story to tell because I recently moved to Dubai with my family. We were in Dubai in May, so we were very fortunate because we actually found our permanent place. We found our permanent home. My husband is very diligent. He's so diligent and he's so ambitious with his German efficiency that he wanted to fly into Dubai, landing at 11 p.m., and go straight to our permanent home. That is unfurnished other than the crib and the bed. Obviously, because some of our stuff is still being shipped. So I was like, oh my God, I sell this product. People stay in the temporary home for 30 days before they move into a permanent home. He's like, nope, I don't want to do that because I don't want to feel unsettled, he said. He's got a point, but I negotiated 2-night hotel stay. Because we have a baby, We need water, we need electricity. So we stayed in the hotel for 2 days. It was a beautiful hotel. The service was fantastic. But I really struggled because there was no kitchen. There was a kitchen-looking kitchenette without stove. And there was no kettle. So I had to negotiate for microwave and a kettle, but still there was no stove. So we couldn't cook food for our baby. We also couldn't do laundry. So that's why I wanted to share the story, because the product we're selling is truly a living experience. It is not just a bed, even though it comes with amazing concierge and services. They will do anything. I managed to even ask them to cook a piece of salmon in their room service kitchen. So they will do everything. But still, there was no kitchen. And the reason why we brought this up is because in business travel, let me step back a little bit. In mobility, this is the product that you understand. You provide living space so that they can focus on their work. There's Wi-Fi, so that they can focus on property viewings for their permanent home, so that their spouse and children are well taken care of in that living space. But in business travel, there is no service apartments program, mostly. Not all, but mostly don't have service apartment programs. They have very well-established hotel programs. It's okay to stay in a hotel for 2 nights to 3 nights. We're staying in a hotel. That's fine because we're in conference all day. But if you have a family and you're there for over 7 nights, it really becomes problematic. And so one of our key strategies in order to educate the whole entire business travel industry is to actually it's really to formalize what Sam has done so smartly, so strategically, which is combining the span of business travel and mobility, so that finally maybe the business travel ecosystem will have more and more well-established service apartment program. So we did this survey 2 years ago in 23. So we've relaunched it now because we wanted to get refreshed data. I would love to encourage all of you to please take a minute to take the survey, because the data will help, because we will produce a white paper, a refreshed white paper, which we will circulate to the entire industries, business travel and mobility. But with the preliminary results that we've taken, I think there's about 17 or 18, or rather 20, yeah, 20 surveys. This is the result so far. 40%, only 40% of the 2 functions collaborate. The rest don't. But of those who collaborate, they have one shared goal, which is cost optimization. Well, I think that's obviously important, but to be honest, from my perspective, it really goes back to my story. How can you stay in a hotel for 8 nights and not have kitchen and not have laundry services? That is a real struggle from a founder of a service apartment company. So I hope that some of you have taken the photo and be able to participate, because Joy will do the draw for Black Friday. So a few years ago, while we were busy building our technology, we were also encountering classic problem, right, of a product, which is product adoption. Because we've learned that many of our target persona, which is the relocation consultants, were inundated by platforms. There was a platform fatigue. There were too many, because they were dealing with maybe 10, 15, 20 service lines. So each line would probably have a platform. So when we introduce our platform, the first thing they say is no, thank you. And so what we have done as well is to learn where do you spend most of your time. And we realized, I mean, it was no-brainer, right? I mean, most large corporates would live within Microsoft, but a lot of them actually live within Outlook. So I was on the plane flying from London to Seattle. It was my first presentation after Raphael, our 11-month-old baby, was born. And I was trying to craft what should be my presentation, since I was going to Microsoft, and I thought maybe I could show our plugin product, which we built within 24 hours, really. The code was written in 24 hours by one of our engineers during a winter hackathon in 23. So here goes. The concept is very simple. Instead of working too hard to get people to log into the AltoVerse, we come to them. AltoVerse goes inside the Outlook, so they could do the basic things like sending requests, approving requests, reviewing options, all of this within the comfort of their Outlook ecosystem. And when I presented this at the Seattle WERC workshop, actually I came away, and Anton Reed, who is our head of engineering, came with me, and we were both actually very inspired by the whole workshop. And so what came out of it is this thing called the Vita AI. We talked a lot about AI this, AI that. Of course, AI is part of AltoVita, because otherwise we wouldn't have been able to release out the Alto Stay or the plugin and so on. So the Vita AI is very portable. The Vita AI is natural, and the Vita AI can be consumed in any format. So straight after that Seattle trip, we built the Teams plugins. And the concept of the Teams plugin is the same. You can do everything within the AltoVerse within Teams. But instead of a kind of limited screen, which is in Outlook, it has to be a third of the screen. This is a much broader view. And on top of that, you can leverage on the data from Alto Insights within Teams. You can also chat to it in natural language program. And yeah, so this is the evolution that came from the WERC conference in Seattle. Of course, everyone would be saying, oh, is it safe? Actually, it's really safe because we are GDPR approved. We have ISO 27001. And the Microsoft plugin is approved by Microsoft. You can download it from the app source within Microsoft. Okay, so I did mention that it can be consumed in any format. So there's Teams, there's Outlook, there's Google, there's also WhatsApp. Last month, we went to Zurich for another WERC workshop. And at that time, Charles from On hosted us. And he was very kind because he asked to speak to me before even we went to Zurich. And so in that conversation, we learned that On is actually using Google because he's on a Google Meet. And so we created this. AltoVita is not just in Microsoft, but we're also in Google. So if you're living in the Google ecosystem, we can come to you within Google. Jess and I met another client last month, or 2 months ago now, I don't remember. And this person was very obsessed about Slack integration. And so I would like to show you our brand new integration into Slack. So again, nothing complex, very similar concept. It's just allowing you to be able to approve, review everything within Slack. Okay, the Alto Stay, because Jess already showed the video, so I won't show you the video again, but I just wanted to share how we have embraced AI. We embrace AI in so many different ways, in our product suite, in our customer success workflow, very similar to what Gosha had said. You know, it's really to increase operational efficiency, to alleviate more time so that they can be even more high touch to clients. But we have embraced AI incredibly well within our engineering, product, and design teams. So the Alto Stay came out of the design thinking session we hosted earlier this year. The prototyping, the product discovery took maybe about 3-4 months, but the production of the code itself took only 6 weeks by one engineer. So Caroline and I were always debating, like in 2021, should we have an app? Should we have an app? And we have to be disciplined, right? We cannot be everywhere. We cannot maintain multiple products. We were a smaller company, so the answer was always no. But this year, the landscape has completely changed because we can develop much faster, especially when it comes to greenfield. What would have cost maybe $200,000-300,000, maybe $500,000 to produce an app a few years ago, it cost us $20,000. So engineering is no longer the bottleneck. It is the product, the discovery, the thinking, the ecosystem, the client feedback to shape our product.
Traveling for work should feel
Anyway, I would like to end my presentation by saying that, or quoting the quote that Jeff Bezos likes to use, which is if you want to go fast, you can go alone, obviously. But if you want to go far, you need to embrace the ecosystem, the community together. And yeah, that's it. Thank you. We wanted to take some questions in case there are any questions. Okay.
Do you just want me to scream? Yeah. Oh, so sorry. Vivi, thank you so much for guiding us through your journey. Actually, it's super interesting to see where you started. But I'm actually now wondering, so what is yours and Carolina's ambition for the next 5 years? Because you spoke a lot about how you've got to here, and you've spoken a lot about the products that you've put out, which are fantastic. So where do you grow from here?
Yeah, so actually we're very lucky today because we are joined by a few of our investors. So Brendan Durst is a friend of mine from University of Michigan. We did a marketing project together for his father's company. His father is here too, Oren Durst. He said, we saw NASDAQ yesterday. Oh, because we had dinner yesterday. We saw NASDAQ, so it reminds me of AltoVita. That's our ambition. That's our vision. That's our dream, really, is to be able to ring that bell on NASDAQ in 5 years, in 10 years, who knows how long it would take. But that's still our goal. Be it as a high growth company or a stable company, who knows? We will be agile, right? That's our aim. But how we get there, we need to be adaptable. So we have a lot of things in the product roadmap. Carolina yesterday presented the connectivity strategy, which is brilliant. We have also the ambition to expand into short stay, which is also conquering the hotel market. And lots of things, there are many. It's not just the founder's push. Jess has her own vision for AltoVita. Beverly has the same. Alex has the same. For us, how we produce product is realistic. We have a prototype, and by the way, in order to produce prototype, it would have taken us weeks. Now, days or hours using AI. So again, that landscape has changed entirely. So we can do discovery, we can do the scoping much faster now. But what we have created as a company over the years is all of you. The ecosystem. We have use cases. We have people we can speak to. We can always show you prototype. We can always gather your feedback. And using your feedback, we prioritize accordingly. And we need to be realistic. We also have North Star, revenue, profitability, EBITDA margin. So all of that has to be balanced. Yeah. Okay.